Okay, so we are live. Hopefully this is a better setup than the previous live stream that I did, because I wasn't sure where to, have my camera set up because I'm using the one on the laptop, which I realised I do need to get a better quality webcam. I'm not sure what the quality is like at the moment, but please feel free to comment down below and tell me what the quality's like, and then we can crack on with this live stream. And we have a comment from JBC101, and he says, "I'm watching the Twitch live stream, and you." The Twitch, is that the Doctor Who Twitch live stream? I haven't actually watched any of that, mainly because I don't have Twitch, or I'm not really sure how to work it. I would like to start watching them because I've heard a lot of good things about it, and it seems to be really, really popular at the moment. And JBC says, yes, we are on the Twin Dilemma. Of course, that's a cracking story. Brilliant, of course. Ice Lord 99, aka Rob, says hello again, and hello to you too. We've currently got 4 people watching, which is an unexpected turnout. Because I remember the first one I did had to stop the test version and then do the actual proper live version because nobody was watching it, and I don't think anybody knew that it was happening. A bit like this one, really. But now people know that the live streams are going to become a bit of a thing. Hopefully we can do a lot more. I think this one might go on for about 40 minutes. I'm not sure, maybe an hour. But we'll see how we get on with the comments and things. So what did everybody think of the Series 11 teaser trailer that we got yesterday? Personally, I thought it was a decent trailer. Nothing particularly exciting. But of course, well, hopefully we're going to get the full trailer at San Diego Comic-Con on Thursday, I think it is. Is it Thursday? Yeah, I think it's going to be on Thursday, so can't wait for that. Hopefully we'll get a bit more footage. Ice Lord 99 says he thought it was underwhelming, but as a teaser, it was very good. Yeah, I think I would agree. It was. It did feel a little bit underwhelming, but I think it's because it's been so hyped. We've also got a comment from Omega Productions, and he says, "I thought it was okay, nothing special, but it equally nothing poor. It just gets me in the mood, wanting to see more Jodie." Which I think I've got a feeling that was probably the point of the teaser, really, just to get you everybody interested. Because if you think about it, we've had nothing in terms of teasers or whatever. We've just had the reveal announcement trailer, which isn't that wasn't footage from Series 11 or anything. That was just an especially made sort of reveal. Basically, that's what that was. It was good. But yeah, we haven't really had anything proper since yesterday, really. Like, apart from yesterday, we haven't had anything to chew on, apart from those leaked clips that were released, which I thought were quite interesting. I believe they're from the first episode because there's a few photos. But yeah, that was an interesting. I'm glad they like the BBC are taking they're really taking charge of it and trying to track down the people who were leaked the footage. And I was wondering, have they actually done that? Have they found the culprit who leaked those clips? I don't know. We'll have to find out. Ice Lord 99 says, just imagine how disappointing Series 11 will be if that flops. If it flops after over a year of excitement and anticipation. Yeah, that'll be really disappointing if it does flop. Personally, I think we're going to have an absolutely fantastic series. In my opinion, that's what I think. I've actually pre-ordered this Series 11 Steelbook just because I've got a really good feeling about the series. I think it's going to be great. But we'll have to wait and see. So I think it's because all our expectations are so high at the moment. DW Sebling says hello to you. Yeah, I think because we haven't had any Doctor Who for over a year now, I think it's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to do with this series. Because I have no idea what they're going to do because they haven't given us anything to go by. I don't know when. I imagine they'll probably release the episode titles maybe a couple of weeks before the trailer, well, the actual series. But I don't know yet. We'll have to find out. So ask me any questions about the new series or what I think about certain elements that might be in there. Also, quite an interesting bit of news. The apparently, oh, we got a question here. What do you think will be released at San Diego Comic-Con? Well, hopefully we'll get the trailer and possibly maybe a couple of or a clip at least. It's really hard to tell at the moment because Chibnall is doing a fantastic job of keeping things really under wraps. But we'll have to see because I mean Thursday is only a few days away, so it's really exciting times because people are going to go absolutely mental over this trailer, I imagine. We'll have to see if there's going to be any new monsters, which I'm sure there will be, because there's only going to be 10 episodes, and I believe they're going to be like an hour long, which I thought was an interesting choice. And hopefully we won't get many filler episodes, but we'll have to see because I don't know when they're going to release the series because they haven't even given a release date yet. But I've got a feeling I've spoken to a few people about this, and I think it's either going to be late September, which would be ideal because my birthday is the 28th of September, or the beginning of October, or the end of October. I have nobody knows apart from the BBC, obviously. So we'll have to wait and see for that. A bit of news actually, which what I was going to talk about before. They've decided to, well, it's unconfirmed, but this is coming from the Mirror, so only take it with a pinch of salt. But basically, the rumor is that we might be getting animated missing episodes coming out on DVD or whatever, and they are the Macra Terror and the Wheel in Space. So if you haven't checked out the article, I haven't read it myself. Well, I've read little bits and pieces, but I've got a few comments. One from TARDIS Prod. He says, "Hi Harry, hello TARDIS Prod." And another one from the Whovian with the small collection. He's got a few comments. Yeah, Macra and the Wheel in Space apparently. So yeah, that's what I think. That's what the Mirror said anyway. And he says, "I don't trust the Mirror." And to be honest, they sort of had a bit of a talk about the power of the Daleks thing going on. But we'll have to wait and see where this story goes. It'll be nice to see. If it would be nice if it was true, because it means more DVDs for the range, which of course, I don't see why not. Because I think Power of the Daleks did really well. I think, even though it did feel a little bit rushed because the BBC wanted it to come out in time for its 50th anniversary or whatever. And he also says I want it, but he still doesn't trust it. So we'll have to see where the story goes because I have no idea, and I think this is such a random bit of news. It's quite interesting actually to see where the story goes. Feel free to ask any more questions. I've got all evening. Hang on a second. Yeah, the chat just vanished for a second there. Omega Productions says it makes sense to animate more episodes after Power was a success, but there are others that should be animated first, like the Highlanders, Marco Polo, Daleks Master Plan, etc. I agree with that, but the thing is, you got to remember that the animations cost a shed load of money, and they can only do so many at a time. So hopefully, if these DVDs do get released, or I don't know how they're going to release them, but if they do really well, then hopefully we will get more missing stories, and then hopefully we'll get all the missing stories animated, because I'm sure everybody wants more Charlton and more Hartnell in their collection. The Whovian with a small collection. I'll do a DW sibling first. Uh, my favourite companions, classic or modern, what are they? Well, my favourite new series companion, I really liked Rose in Series 1. I thought that's when she was at her best. She wasn't annoying or anything. And my favourite classic companion is either Jo Grant or Ace or Jamie or Victoria Waterfield. There are so many good ones. It's hard to pick a favourite, really. The Whovian with a small collection asks, I would say they should do a risk and start animating the missing season 23. That's actually an interesting idea. But we'll have to see, if they do decide to do that. Icelord99 says, I'm an animator. It also takes a long time to animate. Makes sense to do the four-parters first. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. And plus, time is money. And I don't know how long it takes for them to do these animations. Apparently, they did Power of the Daleks in 6 months, which is quite impressive. I know people had a few complaints with it, but you got to remember they were forced to pretty much rush this release in time for its 50th anniversary. The Bond 1976 says, "Hey Harry, heading to work, so I can't hang around, but just wanted to say that I really enjoy your reviews." Thank you very much. That's a really nice comment. I'm glad you enjoy my videos. That's very nice to hear. We also have Analog Transmission, and he says, or she says, or whatever, Donna Noble is my modern favorite, and hers favorite classic companion is Ace. Good choices. I'm not the biggest Donna fan, but I really did enjoy the 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 1. If you want to see my full thoughts on that, you can check out my review. Shameless plug. The Whovian with a small collection asks, I know, right? Rose and Fear Her, because it's the closest we got to Series 1. Rose and Series 2, yeah. Yeah, I think the thing with Rose was she got more annoying with the 10th Doctor, because it ended up being like a soap drama, which I know a lot of people are comparing it to. But that's just my and yours opinions. Because there are a lot of people that do love Rose, and sometimes Rose can be good, but sometimes Rose can be really annoying. DW Sebling asks, "Are you into Big Finish at all? If so, which ones are your favourites? If not, why not?" Well, I've actually got my Big Finish audios are actually down there. I've got a bit of a collection going on there. So it's not the biggest collection, but you can check out my CD collection to see what I think. But my favourites, I think my favourite Big Finish audio would be, I think, Scherzo or Scherzo is a really good story. Definitely check that out by Robert Sherman. What else have we got? Human Resources is a fantastic story. Definitely check that out. I quite liked Red. That was a good story. What else have we got here? The I, Davros series is fantastic. Definitely check that out. I believe they're still doing that bundle for £16. So if you ever get a chance to get it, do get it. And I really liked the Unit Extinction box set, because that was that's probably my favourite Big Finish box set and my favourite Big Finish release. Let's have a look, see what else we got here. The Whovian with a small collection says, if it would be easy to do a little episodes like the Crusades, basically saying he wants the Crusades to be animated. Yeah, that would be a good one. I think they should have done that ages ago. I don't know why it's taken them so long to do that story, because I feel like they should have animated that ages ago, because I have no idea why they decided not to do that, but who knows? Icelord99 says, Stephen and Jamie are my favourite classic companions. and the Wilfred Mott has to be my favourite new series companion. Good choices. Wilfred Mott is probably the best thing about the whole Donna Noble thing. Um, I mean, I quite like that, but I think he's definitely the best part about it. And Jamie is fantastic. I mean, who doesn't like Jamie? So the Hoovian with a small collection says he would quite like to see the Celestial Toymaker get animated. It's been a very long time since I've experienced that. I've got the Recon, but I haven't experienced it in a very long time. Hoovian with a small collection asks, Eighth Doctor is the best Doctor. I think that's what he's trying to say. Yeah, he's a great Doctor, and I think I might be meeting him again at the London Film at Comic Con, so I can't wait for that. DW Sibling asks, least favourite Doctor? Mine is David Tennant. Sorry, don't kill me. I mean, I like all of the Doctors, but if I had to pick like a least favourite, I think Tennant's Doctor would probably be on the lower half of like the bottom of like towards the bottom of the list. It's not saying he's bad because I think all the Doctors are brilliant. It's just I prefer a lot of the classic Doctors because I've experienced a lot of the classic stories, and I still haven't got all of them on DVD. But because they sometimes, I've got to save up for certain things, and I can't buy all of them at once. The Hoovian with a small collection says, theory, Time Crusades was found but badly damaged, and they're trying to fix it. Yeah, it would be nice to see it eventually, but we just don't know at the moment. We'll have to find out about these certain things because I have no idea. And but it would be nice to see more missing episodes like recovered. Ice Lord 99 says the Crusades is actually a pretty difficult episode to animate. There are so many different sets, characters, and costumes for the different characters, so it's not as simple as 25 minutes to animate. I didn't really think about that actually. That's a good point because I just assume that they've got the skills and they've got the patience to animate all these stories, and it's just little details like that which probably take quite a long time to animate. But we'll see. Hopefully, one day we will get an animated version of the Crusades. So look, Omega Productions says mine's like Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi. Hang on a second, going all over the place here, getting a lot of comments. Where's it gone? Okay, so here's sort of bottom of the list of his favourite Doctors. This is from Omega Productions. So he says, mine's like Matt Smith, Peter Capaldi, Christopher Eccleston, then David Tennant, starting from the bottom, and Pertwee is my favourite. That's quite interesting. So pretty much all of the new series Doctors are at the bottom of your list. So that's quite interesting. Christopher Eccleston is my third favourite and has been like for ages, like for years now. My top three Doctors are John Pertwee being my favourite, closely followed by Sylvester McCoy, and my third favourite being Christopher Eccleston. And that's sort of been the same for God knows how many years, ever since I got into the classic series, I think. Analog Transmission says, have you ever done that official BBC Doctor Who personality quiz? And if so, what Doctor are you? I don't really do quizzes, to be honest. I just tend to ignore those type of things, so I can't really comment on that, I'm afraid. So Amago Who says dab or floss? Dab. I'm not sure what that means. Anyway, so the Whovian with a small collection asks, he's basically agreeing with DW's Swibbling, and he says that he also thinks the 10th Doctor is bad and John Hurt adds nothing. It could have just been the 8th in there. They basically made the Doctor a waste regen, same as 10 regenerating to 10. I think he means the Meta Crisis. Yeah, I do think it should have been Paul McGann's story, but the thing you have to remember is that would mean you've got three fairly similar Doctors in terms of their character, because all three of them are quite sprightly. So I think it made sense to have an older incarnation of the Doctor in there. But that's just my opinion. I'm sure you've got your own preferences. The Whovian with a small collection says Chris is better than John Hurt. In terms of a Doctor, I would say yes, he is. Mega Production says Eccleston is only low due to the lack of episodes. If he did 2 or more series, he could be towards the top. Hopefully, Chris comes to Big Finish soon. I really wish loads of people want Chris to come to Big Finish, because Big Finish, in my opinion, do seem to be milking it a little bit. Like the characters and things that they're currently doing spin-offs of. But if they can if they can make people want to buy their box sets more, then I think Chris could help with that immensely. Analog Transmission says, including War Doctor, could you rank the Doctors on the spot? That's going to be a tricky one, because I would probably have to do a video, I'll probably have to do a video separately. I could do a live stream about it, but I think I would have to, because that takes a while. But I can tell you my top 5, because I've told you my top 3. My top 5, starting from the bottom, we've got Patrick Troughton, William Hartnell, Christopher Eccleston, Sylvester McCoy, and John Pertwee. So that's my top 5. I'll have to do a latter half at some point, but we'll see. Analog Transmissions says that if not, please make a video on it. Yeah, I will try and make a video on it at some point, as I said before. Icelord99 says, Peter Capaldi used to be my 3rd on my list, but after Series 9, he fell down near the bottom. My current top 3 are John Pertwee, Paul McGann, and Patrick Troughton. That's a good list. But I will say that I would agree with you that Series 9 was. We had a couple of good stories, like the Before the Flood, etc., and Heaven Sent. I thought they were probably the standouts from that series. But overall, it was mostly filled with dud stories. I appreciate them doing the whole 2-part thing for every story, because cliffhangers, they needed to come back for Doctor Who. So I appreciate it on that level, but generally it's not the great. It's probably the weakest out of the new Who series. I think Series 6 is better. It's way better than that, and that's saying something. What else have we got here? Omega Who says, do you think Doctor Who should have another movie or not? No, I don't think so, because maybe, but because obviously apparently we're going to get a whole new cinematic feel. So I guess it would make sense, but I don't think it would work. It depends what they will do, because I don't know. I'm a little bit 50-50 on that one. The Whovian with a small collection says, hang on a second. We got Icelord99. He says, to be frank, John Hurt was great on Big Finish. The Innocent was amazing. Yeah, John Hurt was fantastic on Big Finish. I'm surprised they managed to get him in the first place, because he's such a big name. The Whovian with a small collection says, I want another Big Finish box set with Chris called After the War. That would be quite interesting to see the aftermath of the Time War and how it affected the Ninth Doctor. That would be good. The Whovian with a small collection also says, what was your opinion on the Wilderness years, the Virgin New Adventures and the Eighth Doctor adventure books era? If you've been with my channel for the past couple of years, you'll know that I've reviewed quite a lot of the BBC classic books and the Virgin New Adventures, because I'm a bit of a sucker for the Doctor Who extended universe. I don't know really what to call it, but there are so many good stories in that, and I'm quite a big book reader, as you probably know, and I hope to review a lot more of them. But I think the Virgin New Adventures range is probably my favourite. And if you're a fan of McCoy's Doctor, then I would highly suggest checking out the Virgin New Adventures range. Analog Transmission says, what's your favourite Christmas special? I think the first three Russell T Davies specials were pretty decent. My favourite probably being maybe Voyage of the Damned, because that story has actually grown on me quite a lot. When it first came out, I didn't really like it, but on repeated viewings, I've actually grown to like it. It's sort of a soft spot, really, apart from the rip-off Robots of Death sort of villains, but there we go. Um, uh, the Whovian with the Small Collection says, I want, if the new series flops, an on-screen series with the Eighth and Charlie or Lucy. Yeah, a lot of people have been wanting that for ages. I think it could work on, like, platforms like Netflix or even BBC Three. I think it could really work, and I imagine a lot of people will definitely watch it. It'll be a lot better than Class, anyway. Let's see. Icelord 99 says the two-parters in Series 9 didn't feel like two-parters, apart from the Zygon arc. The two-parters were loosely connected, but that's his opinion. Yeah, I see where you're going. Like, I see where you're coming from. But regardless, it was nice to see cliffhangers back, even if a lot of them weren't the strongest. I think the weakest story in that series was the girl who died or whatever two-parter, because personally I'm not a fan of Maisie Williams' character, and I didn't think she was particularly good in that story. I'm sorry to all the Game of Thrones fans, like Game of Thrones fans who love her, but I didn't see the point of that, really. Omega who says, do you feel like Daleks should have a break from being, which is quite unfortunate, because the Daleks are, they are not. I haven't listened to any of those, actually, which is, I could probably download the Chimes of Midnight from the Big Finish website, but we'll see. I need to get Death in Blackpool at some point as well, because I've heard that's really good. Omega Who says, if you could write an episode of Doctor Who, what would it be about? Oh, God. Again, that's going to have to be another video, because I'll have to write down various plot points, and it probably won't be very good. Put it that way. But I'll probably have an idea in the back of my head of what story I would like to write about. But it'll probably be about the Sontarans, because they are my favourite Doctor Who villains. Omega Production says, thoughts on Class coming to Big Finish. He says, I personally loved the TV show as well, and I will be buying them considering you didn't enjoy it. Class, do you think Big Finish can redeem them in your eyes? I'll see what people think of the box sets first before I decide to buy them. And I know there are people that do really like Class, but I just wasn't. I sort of gave up on episode 4, I think it was. I just thought, the characters are so unrelatable, and they're just they don't really fit in with the Doctor Who universe. But I still can't believe that they thought it was a good idea. But we'll see what Big Finish do with them, because apparently Ace is going to be in that box set. I think, I'm not sure. Pitch Skull Black says, do you hope that Class will be more classy on Big Finish? Hopefully it will be, because then people might actually buy them. Analog Transmission says, do you think there's a remote chance that all the missing all the missing episodes will be ever found? Hopefully one day. It probably will be beyond our lifetimes, I expect. But hopefully one day we will see all of the missing episodes. Personally, I would like to see Evil of the Daleks found, and the Daleks Master Plan, and the Faceless Ones. All of them. Let's just say I hope all of them get found. I think that's what's going through everybody's minds at the moment. So let's have a look. Icelord 99 says, "Are you up for pure historicals returning or not? I love them to come back personally." Yep, I would agree with that completely because some of my favorite stories are pure historicals. Like the Aztecs is brilliant. The Time Warrior. I don't know. Is that pure historical? I can't remember, but that's a fantastic story. Um, so Imego who says, "Do you think the Valiard should return?" I don't know because I think the Sixth Doctor Last Adventure did a pretty good job with that, so I think he should be left alone really. But it'd be quite cool to see him like TV, but I don't know what they would do with him. Um, what else have we got here? Analog Transmission says thoughts on Torchwood. Series 1 was pretty good. Series 2 was good. Children of Earth was amazing. That's the best bit of one of the best bits of television I've ever watched. Um, really intense and suspenseful. And Miracle Day, I haven't actually got on DVD. I want to get that at some point because I've only watched it when it aired. That was the first Torchwood series I watched when it was released, like because I wasn't really allowed to watch it previously. So it was good to watch it, when it's being broadcasted. Um, Lord 99 says, "I love to have a spin off series about Captain Jack in the Time Agency. The main villain could be Magnus Greel or something." That would be really good. That's a good idea, actually. I'm surprised Big Finish haven't thought of that already. Because they're coming out with so many ideas at the moment. Um, the Whovian with a Small Collection says, "Okay, I have an idea. The BBC haven't jumped on making the rest of the SJA book series." Um, Yeah, I suppose that they could do that. I mean, they could promote them by doing a signing, and they might sell well. But I've never really thought about that, to be honest. Um, Pitchcore Black says, "What would you think if Cyril from the Celestial Toymaker was actually an incarnation of the Doctor? What would you think if Big Finish did a spin-off on him?" Um, if that was true or whatever, then to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they did do that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But that would be pretty cool. The Whovian with a Small Collection, Aztecs is a pure historical. Yeah, I know for a fact that the Aztecs is definitely a pure historical. I've actually got my copy signed by William Russell, who plays Ian Chesterton. Chesterton. So I'm quite proud of that. Let's have a look here. Analog Transmission says most underrated classic episodes. Well, the first one that springs to mind would be the Faceless Ones, because I think because it's missing, well, most of it anyway. I think it's not really talked about very much. I think it's a fantastic. It's one of my favourite Doctor Who stories of all time. But I think the most underrated would be the Edge of Destruction because that is. I think it's because it's overshadowed by. Well, it's sandwiched in between the very first Doctor Who story and one of the most iconic Doctor Who stories. So it's sort of just like sandwiched and overshadowed, really. Um, What's the most overrated classic episode? I don't know. I think Talons of Wayne Chiang, even though it's fantastic, I think it is a bit overrated. Just a bit. Caves of Androzani, I think, is a bit overrated. Um, Let me know what tell me what you think about that. Whovian with a Small Collection says anything from season 3 and 4 are underrated. I would agree with that. I think it's because of the fact they're missing most of them are missing episodes. Icelord 99 says I hope there isn't another series of box sets between Ravenous and the Time War because Paul needs to return to the monthly range and his arc is done in an India Fisher needs to come back. Yeah, I would agree with that. It seems like we're just getting box sets now with Paul McGann, which I don't mind. But I've heard The Ravenous series was a bit average, well, so far, and Doom Coalition, I heard, was a bit of a disaster. I still haven't checked out Dark Eyes. As you can see, I don't have Dark Eyes in my collection, so I would like to get that at some point, but the box sets are pretty expensive, to be honest. There's a notification, let's get rid of that. What else have we got? Pitchcore Black says, if you had the opportunity to travel back in time to the operator of the Dalek Emperor from the Evil of the Daleks, would you talk to that would you take that opportunity? Would you talk that opportunity up? So if you had the well, I would love to talk to the Emperor Dalek from that story because I think he looks like a badass. Analog Transmission says most underrated modern episode. I think Gridlock is pretty underrated, and 42 is quite underrated. Both of those stories I really like. Mega Who asks, what actor actress would you pick as the Doctor? I would quite like to see Tom Ellis as the Doctor. I think he's quite a good actor. He's recently been in is it called Lucifer, where he plays the devil or something. But yeah, what else have we got? The Movie with a Small Collection asks, Dark Eyes only suffers because of the behind-the-scenes trouble. I don't know about that actually. Please tell me more. I don't know what was going on there. I haven't heard of any behind-the-scenes troubles with Dark Eyes. I thought everything was going to go well. Everything went smoothly. I don't know. Imega Who says, I think there should be a spin-off on Big Finish about Captain Jack and about his time with the Time Agents. I think that comment's already been said. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I would agree that they should do that. Pitchcore Black says, I meant to take the opportunity up. Yeah, I probably would take the opportunity, to be honest. The Whovian with a Small Collection asks, anything from Series 3 of Modern Who is underrated? That's an interesting comment, and I will probably agree with that because yeah, Series 3 is my second favourite New Who series. My favourite is Series 1. I think that's the best New Who series so far. We're getting a lot of comments. I'll have to Analog Transmissions. Do you like Series 5? Yeah, I do. I do like Series 5. I think it's a really fun, entertaining series. And he also says, what is your headcanon? Well, firstly, the 12th Doctor regenerated in the end of Doctor Falls. Hellbent never happened. Scherzo is canon. Well, the 8th Doctor with Lucy Miller, the 8th Doctor Lucy Miller adventures are canon. The Virginia Adventures are canon. There's a lot really. I could go on for ages. The Whovian with a Small Collection says the actress for Molly had trouble balancing her schedule with the TV show Humans and Dark Eyes recordings. I never knew that. That's quite an interesting point because I haven't really looked much into Dark Eyes. I've seen a lot of reviews, but I haven't really looked into the production. Analog Transmissions asks, or he says, he just agrees with the previous comment. Pitchcore Black says, what do you think the worst video is on your channel, or what was the worst video you've ever done? I think my early videos, if you look at when I first started, I think they were pretty bad. I mean, in my opinion, they slowly got better as time went on. I think I'm at my peak in terms of my YouTube skills. I mean, I don't have that many, filmmaking skills or editing. I don't have decent editing software. I've just got Windows Movie Maker. That's doing me. I'm okay with that at the moment. Hopefully, I'll buy Sony Vegas or something some points. That'd be cool. So I don't really know what my worst video is. Probably just a load of the ones that I started out doing, I suppose. Omega Who says, "Do you think Doctor Who will ever end in your lifetime?" Um, I imagine it might stop at some point, but I don't really want it to because it's my life. Pisco Black says, "If you were to find out all of the books in your collection were made of were made of human skin, uh, what would you do and how would you react?" Well, first off, I would be um, pretty shocked actually. Um, I would say the least. Um, yeah, I wouldn't actually. I don't really know how I would react. That's a very bizarre question, my friend. Um, Sorry, I can't get over that comment. The Whovian with the small collection. He asks Omega, who depends what you mean by the end. Well, yeah, it does depend on what you mean. Like, is that the end of the show's history? Like, does the Doctor get to a certain point and then he just stops? Who knows? The Whovian with a small collection says I would be fine with that. Wait, sorry, wasn't that the New Who canned, but Big Finish is still going? Yeah, I think Big Finish may stop by that point because I think I might have mentioned, in my opinion, I do think they are sort of milking it at the moment. Analog Transmission says, "Do you think that Peter Cushing's Doctor is the half-human other 10th Doctor from Journey's End later on in life?" That's actually quite a good theory. I've never really thought about that. I'll be honest. I haven't actually watched the two Peter Cushing films. I've actually got a little toy Dalek, as you can see there. I've got a toy Dalek from those films, but I haven't watched any of the stories. Well, the two films. I'll probably get them on Blu-ray at some point, but we shall see. Pitchco Black says, "I think Big Finish are gonna go bankrupt eventually because of all the releases they are pumping out and all of the unnecessary ones they are doing, and the prices will drop as well." Yeah, it's probably the sad truth, but we'll have to see how they get on. Maybe they'll come out with something that's really that's interested. Um, that will seem interesting to like fans of Big Finish, but we shall see. Um, what is your favorite Stephen King book slash film? Um, well, I haven't read any of the Stephen King books, which is probably a shock horror to some of you. But I've seen a couple of the films. I did quite like It, the 2017 version. I watched that in the cinema when it came out. I really like Pet Cemetery. I thought that was a really creepy film. I haven't seen many, to be honest. I would like to read some Stephen King books at some point, but we shall see. Um, what else? Whovian with a small collection says, "With Peter Cushing, I have a theory that Barbara and Ian wrote a book and got famous and it became a film." Yeah, that's a good theory. I think I might have seen that theory before, but I don't know, I could be wrong. But I would agree that that was a good theory. Um, Omega Productions says, "Those two films are now canon. Ian and Barbara sold the rights inside the universe. Moffat included it within the Day of the Doctor Target book." Yeah, he actually did. I read the Target book a couple of months ago, or was it last month? I can't remember. I still need to review it at some point. I just haven't got round to doing it yet. Um, what else have we got? Um, Mega Who says, "What was your favourite show as a kid?" Apart from Doctor Who, my favourite show as a kid was Thomas the Tank Engine. I probably watched that religiously for ages and ages and ages. My parents will tell you that I was completely obsessed with Thomas the Tank Engine. Um, what else have we got here? Omega Production says the Doctor loves them as well, apparently. Ice Lord 99 says I really enjoyed Doom Coalition, except for the second one. Ravenous was an enjoyable set that was just full of fun. Stories are much needed, lighter sets after the heavy events in Doom Coalition. That's quite interesting because I can't really comment because I haven't listened to any of those box sets. And Omega Who says, would you rather have Doctor Who weekend binge, um, a weekend binge watch, or have a night out with your friends? Um, well, sometimes I have had like a Doctor Who binge weekend, and there have been quite a few times when I've just gone on a night out with my friends. Sometimes I like to balance the two. But we shall see. I mean, some of my mates don't have a lot of money at the moment, which is a bit unfortunate. But yeah, we still try and go out whenever we can, really. Um, Pitchcore Black says, in order for the Ice Warriors missing episodes to be found, you had to sit down completely naked and in an igloo in the middle of the Antarctic, and watch your least favorite story twice. Would you do it? I mean, I'm not a massive fan of the Ice Warriors, so I would probably say no, but it would be nice to have a complete story. So I don't know, 50-50 on that one. Analog Transmission says, when's your next review? I don't know what it's going to be because I've got a load of video ideas at the moment. I'm currently in the middle of doing a autograph collection, like an updated one, but I'm going to release that sometime after London Comic Con. So that'll definitely come out at some point. But I don't know when my next review is going to be, unfortunately. So I can't answer that. I'm sorry. Omega Who says, "What is my favorite video game?" I'm not really a big fan of. I don't really play video games that much, but it would probably. I know this might sound a bit strange, but it will probably be Crash Bandicoot. Crash Team Racing, because I'm a big Crash Bandicoot fan. I'm really looking forward to the Spyro remaster that's coming out in September. Will you ever do a meme review like PewDiePie? Probably not. That's not something I normally do, but who knows? I might do it in the future. Omega Productions. I've done an autograph collection, and it's up on my channel. Oh, I'll have to check that out after this live stream, I think. Thanks for advertising that. Analog Transmission says, please don't delete this live stream after it's finished. No, I don't really I'm not planning on deleting the live streams. I'll probably still keep them on my channel. I've just got to create a thumbnail for them at some point. Pitchcore Black says, if they were to create a mashup of the Evil of the Daleks and the Space Pirates as an operatic stage play, would you go and watch it? Yeah, I probably would go and watch it. I think that would be quite an interesting watch, I think. Omega Who, are you into any sport in generally, or do you hate sport? Well, I've never really been a sporty person, but sometimes I like to watch football. I support Wolverhampton and Cheltenham Town. They're like the teams I support because Cheltenham's my local town, and my dad supports Wolverhampton, being a major team. So I support Wolverhampton, and I do like to watch the Six Nations. That's always enjoyable because usually we watch that with the family, and that's always good fun. Icelord99 says, the scene in Torchwood Series 2 Episode 1 where Jack and that other guy see each other again was actually the first club I went to when I moved to Cardiff. Just a bit of trivia there for you. Well, that's pretty cool. I would have thought they might have knocked it down by now, but that's pretty cool, actually. American Production says Fitchcore Black comes up with some really weird and random questions. Well, it's always good to have him in the comments because it's a bit different, isn't it? Omega Who, do you like Family Guy and South Park? Yeah, I like Family Guy. I haven't really watched much of South Park, but I have seen the film, and that was really funny. I just never really got into it, actually, to be honest. I think we'll probably end this live stream now. It's been pretty much almost an hour. If I'll do a couple of more questions if you've got any, just quickly send them my way. But if not, then I think it'll be a good time to end it. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone who's watched this live stream. It's been quite a good turnout. We've had 6 views. We've got one more question from Bitchcore Black, and he says, if every single Dalek in every single Doctor Who story were replaced by the Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics, and each one released into the cinema, would you go and watch it? Probably not, because I'm not into Five Nights at Freddy's, so there's your answer to that question. Would you rather bath and lemons or hot sauce? Bath and lemons, I think. So yeah, I think we'll probably end this live stream. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you everyone who tuned in today. Hopefully, I'll do one of these next week because I really like doing them. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. So take care and goodbye.